welcome to the podcast Connected Curious Care. My name is Karina and I am so excited to have you here when we talk about judgments. And judgments is nothing that we did not touch on yet, but today we're going to dive a little deeper. Like the other times we talked about our intention, how we get into conversations, and if we are able to come with an openness, a curiosity, care, or if we come from a place of judgments, of wanting to win, or being right. So when I say judgments, I am thinking about a picture, and I see communication as a playground, as a a soccer field. Let's call it a soccer field. And when I come from judgment, or when I judge myself, my soccer field becomes super narrow, and all the balls that are going to land in my field, or all the balls that I kick out of my field, they're going to come from this narrow strip of judgment. And if I'm able to bring in curiosity and openness, I'm able to open up my field, and I have more chances to hear something differently or to say something differently. Yeah. And that's really important because it changes the way, not only how I think about myself. If I have harsh self-judgment, and self-judgment often comes in a more critical voice, and we are questioning ourselves or doubting ourselves, or feeling like, why on earth did you do it that way? And so if that happens, it's not only changing the way how I feel about myself, but it's also going to change with what kind of attitude I'm able to go into conversations, how I'm able to set my limits, and to be very clear and secure in what I want to say. And the other person doesn't even need to know about my self-judgments. They're going to feel it between the lines. And I want to give you an example. So I went to a pretty large a workshop, and that workshop was online. I was kind of newish to the topic, and everybody could submit questions in the chat field, and I submitted a question, and after that another participant responded to that question saying, that's a question for a beginner's class. And the teacher came on and wanted to respond to my question, but my story I told myself in that moment was very judgmental about myself. Like, what were you thinking? What kind of dumb question was that to ask? And so I took a moment, because I realized I'm playing in a very narrow field here right now. Like, I hear this other comment in a very particular way that is making me feel not good. So let me clarify this before I go further down with this own story that I tell myself right now. And so I put a pause in, and I asked the teacher if it's okay if I just clarify what this other participant meant with her comment, if there is an interest for everyone in this room to hear the answer, because it is important to me to contribute to the group and to create a learning environment that works for everyone. And the other participant came right away on and was like, no, that's not at all what I meant. I meant that this is such an important question. It should be in every beginner's class because it's the foundation, it's the basis, and we should all know that. And that for me opened up, with this question, it opened up my field, my playground immensely. And I was able to keep hearing things differently and to play my balls out of my playground and soccer field very differently. I would have had a completely different experience if I would have stayed with my self-judgment. I would probably not raise my hand again. I would feel like, well, one dumb question is enough per workshop, and that would be the end of it. And I would probably still think back with a weird feeling towards this workshop. So trying to, even though it's making you vulnerable, and it requires a certain, I had to speak up, right? I had to say, is it okay if I ask a question after I ask a question? But that helped me. That curiosity to really understand what this other person meant helped me to have a much better and richer experience at this workshop. And so I invite you to try the same. If you realize you tell yourself a story about yourself, try to take a moment and just feel into it. Like, what are you feeling right now, and why? Where does this feeling come from? Why does this matter so much to you? And is there a story behind it? Like, is there a trigger, something that you are already aware of? Often we don't just start telling us stories that are completely new to us. They usually have a backstory, right? And so I knew exactly where my thinking came from. That wasn't new to me, and that also helped to identify it and to be like, oh, wait a minute, I think I'm going to be taken away right now by a different story than everybody else is having. So I want to make sure I'm going to be on the same page here. And lastly, one thing that helps me to reflect a little kinder and to talk a little kinder with myself and judge myself in a different way is that every evening, instead of just thinking about what I missed to do, what I should have done better, what didn't work out, to take a moment and really be grateful and proud of what I accomplished that day. And that can be something super small. That can be like, I was 10 minutes on the yoga mat, or I was able to have a healthy lunch, or I was able to reach out to someone I did not have a contact with yet, like whatever it is. And really let that in, that feeling of being proud and grateful as well. And that's it for this week. I'll see you next week, and I would love to hear from you. You can leave me a comment on Instagram or on YouTube, and be well. Bye.